Fourth crosstown shootout. You've been here for a while now. What's your take on the series and the build up? And is there any? Do you wish there was anything you could do about the week off? It feels like it always comes right after or right like during finals week.
Yeah, it's like I've always said. It's one of the best rivalries in college sports, and this is a sports town. Like I've thought that before I came here. Now I feel like a Cincinnatian, and this is one of the best sports towns in the United States, and college basketball is a big part of that, and this game's a big part of that. So that's become more clear. You think that from a distance, but it's been more clear living here. What was the next question?
Having the game always kind of fall right after the end of finals week, where you're not allowed to play a game during finals week, are you?
We tried to schedule a game Tuesday with the Howard game. Well, we actually scheduled it Tuesday, but was retroactively told that we couldn't do that, so we had to go back. And Kenny Blakeney was really kind because we moved it once to try to play on Tuesday night because we haven't done that. It's just a long time between games this time of year. But, the university didn't feel right about doing that during finals, so we played on Sunday.
They used to do the big thing down at the Skyline downtown. You were there last year. The city used to have, in addition to that, a party, and the mayors would be there. And it was like a week-long festive deal. Is it safe to say you would just soon be in the gym?
I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. As I remind our players and our staff all the time, there's responsibilities that come with the positions that we're in. I accept my responsibilities. If it's to show up to an event, I'm going to gladly be there and represent the university the right way. And I expect the same thing from our players. So when there's things that we need to do within our roles, we're going to do them. And if those things are canceled, then we're just going to move on to the next thing.
We've had some weird things happen in this series. Trayvon Blewett scoring like 30 points and a half. Jaron Cumberland, Quincy Oliveri last year. Does it feel like this is entering the realm of you can prepare all you want, but this series is just basically crazy and you never really know what's going to happen?
I just think any very competitive game is going to have things. You can prepare as much as you want to prepare for any game, but when you get into a competitive game, big-time players, rise up, make big-time plays, and things happen. And, I wouldn't say that's, singular to any one game or another one, but in big-time games and big-time environments, unexpected things can happen. And, part of the work that you do all summer, all fall, all year is to prepare for dealing with those kind of moments, even though you might not know what they are.
Guy that you're familiar with from the Indiana State game, how have you seen him utilized within Xavier's offense?
Hey, he's one of the best shooters in college basketball. We played against him twice last year. Played against him in a preseason scrimmage, and we played against him when he was at South Florida. So it's been neat to see that young man's progression. He's as good of a shooter as we have in college basketball, and he's not just a shooter; he's a complete player. And I thought at Indiana State, I thought that all three coaches that have coached him have let him play with freedom and confidence. I'm sure he's earned that in the practices, but I thought Brian Gregory did a nice job with him as a young player, and then obviously they did a great job with him at Indiana State last year, and then they're doing the same thing this year at Xavier. But he plays with a ton of confidence. His shooting is, again, as good as anybody in the country, and then he does a lot more than that. He moves well without the ball. He's got the ball in his hands a lot more in decision-making situations. He's a terrific player.
Zach Fremantle has been really, really good for them so far this season. They're using him probably more at the 5 than they wanted to with the Traore injury. How do you handle a guy like that that's versatile enough to kind of beat you in different ways, playing in that 5 spot where he can pick, he can pop, he can post you up, he can do a lot of different things offensively?
Yeah, he's a terrific player. Obviously an old and experienced player, so he's been through his fair share of battles in college basketball. But it'll be a difficult matchup for us for sure. And, there's physicality. There's, like, the inside-outside. You see him picking and popping and shooting more. So, he obviously does a terrific rebounder. There's a lot to prepare for there. We're going to have to get our butts in gear.
Do you expect to see 100% of what Dan Skillings is capable of in this game on Saturday?
I've said this to Dan and certainly said it to every. And it's just the way we approach it anyway, guys. I mean, it's about today, and we got practice here this afternoon, and the first goal is to do what we can to improve in practice and work to our standard. But Dan's coming off an injury. For me to think about what he's going to look like on Saturday is a waste of my dang time. I thought it was really important that he got those minutes and got into a real game to kind of knock some of the dust off and get some confidence in his body. And I thought he did that Sunday. And, we held him out of practice yesterday for no reason other than precautionary. And, we'll practice here today, and he'll be full go, full steam ahead. And then we'll kind of see how he feels tomorrow. But trying to project 4 or 5 days out when he's just in the beginning of his, return to 5-on-5 everyday activity. I mean, he's been in a return to play for weeks now, but now he's in that, full green means go process of his return to play. We'll just take it one day at a time.
Talked about Tyler Betsy having that foot issue before Alabama State. Looked like he might have re-aggravated it on Sunday. Do you have an update on where he stands? Is he fully healthy?
Yeah, he was. I think he had a little discomfort in the game, and then came out and said he was good and went back in. I thought he looked fine. He looked fine yesterday in practice. It's, scans, MRIs. We've done the whole thing, and everything's intact and everything looks good there. So it's like a soft tissue discomfort thing, but nothing serious. And again, him practicing every day and continuing to put days together. When he's done that, he's played well beyond his years as a freshman, and we certainly know how talented he is. So it's important he's back in the gym putting days together, and he did that yesterday, and my expectation is he'll do that again today.
This in past years, I'm sure, but the intensity and uniqueness of this rivalry, Duke, North Carolina, you had another shot, if not 2 other shots at him. This is a one-off.
Yeah, and I think people in this community understand it, So, if somebody from outside this community wants to hear about it, I'll tell them. But, I mean, the people in this community understand, the nature of this game. And certainly I do now after living here for 3.5 years.
Back on the scheduling thing, you've got 6 days between your Howard and Xavier, and then another 6 days between Xavier and Dayton. Do you think the Big 12, now that you're going to 20 league games, you're doing it in 10 weeks, do you think the league maybe needs to look at doing what some of these conferences that are playing 20 games and sneak in a conference game or 2 early in December or middle of December so that you actually get a bye week built in and you don't have these week-long layoffs between games?
Yeah, I certainly have opinions, but I also know my place, and we're new to the league. Cincinnati, we're new to this league and trying to earn our stripes in this league, so I'll just leave my opinions to myself.
Seems like Xavier's come out with more intensity from the start. How do you keep your guys focused on it being a full 40 minutes, not getting too high or too low within this rivalry game? Starts in general over the last couple years against Xavier. It seems like it's happened for the last 5 or 6 years. How do you keep your team focused for those full 40 minutes to come out with more intensity from the beginning?
Yeah, I just think I think our guys want to play well every night, and they're going to want to play well when the ball goes up. And I think it's just about losing yourself in the moment and focus on winning the next possession. And that's always been the way I've coached and tried to approach it in the position that I'm in. And that's not going to. You never know if you change, but I highly doubt that ever changes. Just, hey, the ball's going to go up. Let's whatever happens when the ball goes up, let's win the next possession, and whatever happens on that, let's go win the next one. And I think when teams really embrace that mindset, teams play their best basketball and players play their best basketball. A lot of people call that the zone, right? When you're in the zone, where you're not worried about anything else other than just what's happening in the moment. And I think when a team just focuses on just winning the next possession, nothing else in the world in that moment matters other than that, I think that's when people have the chance to play their best basketball and teams have the best chance. And that's what we'll always preach for any game, and I think it's fun when your team plays like that. And the goal is to get a team that plays like that for every possession the whole year. I hadn't seen that ever in my lifetime at any level of sport. But the teams that can do it the most consistent are usually the teams that have the most success, and that's what we're working for when we go in the gym for practice today.
Dillon has played in some big-time games, obviously playing in the Big 12 over the last 2 years, playing in those type rivalry games heading into Saturday. He hasn't played in this one yet. Talk about how important it is to have a veteran and his leadership abilities heading into a tough contest like this on Saturday. Yeah,
I just think, when you look at our roster and you look at all the guys that have experience in big games, and in these Power 5 leagues, and in March and the end of the season. I mean, I think all that kind of stuff is just really valuable. And Dillon's an example of a guy that's been an experienced player by the time he got here, and I think that has value. I think there's other guys that have gotten that experience here, other places, and I think that adds value to our team for sure.
Chisel last year seemed unfazed by the atmosphere. How do you get the other guys to do that?
Again, I think, my focus is practice today, guys. We get to the next game, it'll be about trying to win the next possession, and everybody, just doing everything they can to focus and play with great effort and win the next possession. I think we have really good players. I think we have mature players, experienced players, and, with the right mindset, I think they have the opportunity to all play well no matter what the circumstances are and what the game is.
Going back to starting fast, after the last game against Howard, you talked about, keeping the switch flipped on. Is there any kind of message this week in practice to make sure that switch is always flipped on in this game?
That's the message all the time, and I think our players understand it. Again, we have such a terrific group of guys. They want it, right? They want to be great. They want to have great team success. They want to have great individual success. And like all of us, they're trying to learn how to do better. And they've had great moments. Like I look at, where we started to where we are. We've had some terrific moments and a lot that gives us hope and excitement. And generally in those moments, our mentality or, our focus or our effort, and I've, used a metaphor of a light switch, it's on, generally. And generally when our moments haven't been to that standard, and they ain't been that bad, but when they haven't been to that standard, generally it's not on to that degree, to use the metaphor. And so that's something we've been preaching, we'll continue preaching, and I think our guys, they buy into that, but learning how to do it all the time consistently. Again, that's my job as a coach. That's why I'm here, guys. I mean, if they didn't need to be pushed, if they didn't need to be taken to another level, then we wouldn't have jobs as coaches. They wouldn't need us. So we got a terrific group. They work, guys. If you guys came, I think you guys will be at practice today, but if you guys came to practice every single day, you'd be really proud of the team in terms of how they work to represent this program in this city. So, yeah, do I want more and more and more? Heck yeah. But shoot, guys, they could win 70 straight games, and I'd still want more and more and more, and that's what we'll be preaching in practice today.
Talked about the Georgia Tech game after that game that you practice less than you have usually in your tenure here. Are you back to the normal practice plan that you are used to, and are you seeing it pay dividends?
Yeah, we will be. We are this week. Yeah, we're kind of back to normal this week, but and I think that's important. We got to make sure that we can do that as consistent. You got to practice to be really good. Now you can't go the wrong way and overdo it, but we're trying to get back to being able to do the things that we prefer to do on an everyday basis in terms of practice and development and the work and all that. And again, our guys haven't resisted that at all, but we made some choices a couple weeks ago just with some stuff going on health-wise, and but hopefully we're back to normal throughout the course of this week.
On a lighter note, this week are you putting Simas in bubble wrap when walking across the street?
Yeah, just all those drivers out there, be careful. Don't run over anybody. That's what I should say. If anybody in this community is listening to me, and I'll talk to my dang self, don't look at your phone while you're driving, and you got to take your own advice sometimes, and pay attention to the road and all that. But if you're going to hit somebody, please don't hit one of my damn players. Okay, that type of thing. but I don't want anybody to get hit, for gosh sakes. Shoot, if somebody's got to get hit, hit me. I don't have to play. I don't have to play in any games. But thank you, guys.
What rivalry game at Texas would you compare? Would it be Oklahoma that you would compare this to? Texas Tech?
I say Texas Tech. I think Oklahoma, to me, was more of like a football. I think when we went to Tech, it was, playing at Tech, even when Tech came to us, I would say that was the biggest rivalry at Texas.
Or tortillas in basketball too, or just
No, I mean, there was some things thrown. I mean, I remember one time during the game, we went there last year, it was water bottles. It was some crazy things getting thrown on that court that I'm like, I've never seen on a basketball court just being thrown. So.
You like that in a way, though, when the other team's like, egging you on a little bit, and then you're able to answer and that back and forth, you enjoy that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we live for that competition. I mean, seeing the fans so into it, showing how much they care about the game, care about basketball. So, I mean, yeah, I think it just brings a lot of us. It brings a lot of, I don't know, just that competitive side out of us that we have every game. But, I mean, seeing the fans so into it, it's just a different type of experience.
How long did it take you to learn about the animosity between UC and Xavier and how much this rivalry means to the university?
Honestly, right when I got here. I mean, still now to this day, like I'll be at Target, I'll be at OTR. I mean, I go to the Target on, what is it called? I forgot what it's called, but I'll be at this one Target. I'll be anywhere around the city, and I'll have fans that come up like, good luck on the season, and I mean, Xavier, we can't wait for y'all to play Xavier. I mean, that's immediately what they go to. So I think I heard about it right when I got to the city, not even from my teammates, just from the people around the city, the fans around the city I hear it from.
You mentioned your experience playing here last year while at Texas and the crowd and the environment. How much are you looking forward to seeing this? Because it's kind of a different level compared to all the other games.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember I seen a picture on my phone just yesterday from just a little throwback when we came here last year. And I was kind of looking in the background, like looking at the crowd. And I remember when we came here last year, it was nuts. I mean, we weren't expecting anything for real because, like, this was Cincinnati's first year in the Big 12 last year. So we coming in, we didn't know what to expect as far as a crowd or a type of fan base that Cincinnati had. But by the time jump ball was going, I mean, we were looking around like, wow, it's packed. So it'll be fun for me at least to be on the other side of it. Like when having the crowd packed for me and the team, not being on the other side when I was at Texas coming here was a little bit different. I didn't really get to experience the crowd on my side. So it'll be a lot fun this time.
As a player, do you kind of get up seeing that environment and thrive off of that energy?
Oh yeah, I mean that's what we live off of. I mean, I've said this before, we play for the name in front of our chest. We play for the city, we play for this university. So seeing the crowd, seeing the fans like that, I mean, that just gets us to a whole nother level. So they're going to help us win games, like I've said before. Fifth Third, then the fans around the city, the fans of this university, them being at Fifth Third, cheering us on, being loud for us during every single moment of the game, the ups and the lows, still being there, having our backs. I mean, they're going to help us win games this year for sure.
One of the best individual defenders in the country this season. Would you attribute that to the system and your mastery of the system so far, or more towards your individual athletic skills and being able to kind of cover so much ground in such little time?
I just say the standard that Coach West has built. I think that's the biggest thing. Coach West gives a lot of freedom on the offensive side, but, I mean, defensively, that's what it's all about. I mean, that's what it's going to take to win games, especially like me being in college for a little minute now. I kind of understand that that's what it takes to win games. There could be games where, we're not making shots or the offensive side is just looking a little tough for us, but we could still push through on defense, and eventually the offense will come, especially with, good offensive players that we have like Simas, Jizzle, Connor, all those type of guys. Like, the offense will come. So I think the biggest thing now is just defense. Defense is going to help us win games, and I think Coach West has emphasized that since I first got here, even when he was recruiting me. Like, defense is the biggest thing. Defense is going to help us win games. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing, is just emphasizing that side of the ball.
On that note, Xavier is a team that traditionally has a lot of different skilled guys with the ability to shoot, pass. So how much is that message this week that we have to come in locked in immediately from the tip to kind of keep them from getting a rhythm early?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. And I think Coach West just emphasized it's all about us right now. Like, we know this is a big game. We know the city's been waiting for this type of game. But I think as long as we focus on us, focus on what we can control and doing the things that we do every day in practice, and I mean, it kind of starts today for us going hard in practice to get ready for this game. I think it comes down to us doing what we got to do. All the little standards that coach has put in line, all the things he wants to emphasize, all the little details that it takes to win any game for. And I think if we do that for 40 minutes, I mean, we can see ourselves in good position. It'll help us put ourselves in good position as long as we just do the little details that we've done since the summer to help us win games.
Crazy stat at you.
Go ahead.
In games decided by 7 points or less in this series over the last 35 years, Xavier is 14-1.
Okay.
What do you guys have to do if this is a close game to get over that hump? Because that's an insane number.
I think just stick together. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, especially hearing a stat like that, I think it all comes down to just sticking together, being by each other's side, pushing each other up even when we get, highs or lows. There's going to be lows in every game. But being next to each other, continuing to motivate each other, even the guys on the bench. I think just being together and pushing through, remembering the little details, giving every effort on every possession, taking one possession at a time. But like I said, I think it's just the standards, the little details that's going to help us win games. It'll be little things that we think, didn't matter at that point of the game. But, I mean, every little detail matters. Every little possession matters. Like, I think all those things are just staying together. I think we'll be fine if we do those things for 40 minutes.
In the past, guys from both teams might play in a summer league or a scrimmage somewhere. Mm-hmm. Have you played against any of those guys at all anywhere? Or do you know any of them, or enough to politely chat about the game, or no?
Nah, I don't. I have one of my homeboys played there last year, Quincy, who plays with the Lakers now. He's on a two-way with the Lakers. So I've talked to him a little bit. I've talked to him on FaceTime. He just says it's the biggest thing in the city. So I've talked to him a little bit. Obviously, he's on the Xavier side, so I'm not talking to him right now or anything like that. But during the summer, I was. And he just told me it's a big game to go hard. For both sides, it's a big game. So, I mean, that's just what he told me. That's the advice he gave me. And obviously, I'm not going to be talking to him any longer, especially after this game or before this game this week or anything like that. But that's about the only player I know that played there.
When you mention the fan support here for Cincinnati, obviously you're new to this rivalry. What's your message to the fans to come out and support on Saturday?
Just keep doing what y'all do. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Obviously, they've been there every game. They've been cheering us on. I think it's the most fun when, like, there's possessions. Obviously, there's games where, I'll have a dunk, or AZ will have a big dunk, or Simas will hit a crazy three and they go crazy. But I think one of the fun things that they do is, like, when there's a dive ball or just a toughness play, how loud they get. So we'll need that for this next game and just continue to do what they do. And, I mean, I'm sure they're excited as we are. I've been hearing about it ever since I got here, like I said, from around the city. So it'll be a fun environment to play in, especially for me. It's the first time.
Being the first time, like how would I'm saying, how can I word this? Not being overly hyped, because sometimes you could be overly hyped and not play outside of yourself. How are you going to be able to control your emotions just to make sure that you're even keel and not getting too high and getting too low? Yeah,
no, 100%. I think just trusting the work, trusting everything that we've been doing, being confident in my team, being confident in Coach West and the rest of the coaching staff. I mean, they're the biggest reason why I came here, and I trust them. And I know I don't want to get too high or low, but like Coach West is the same way. And I think seeing him all composed and knowing that this is a big game, but I mean, every game once we get in conference is a big game. So obviously this means a little bit different for the city as far as, the rivalry. But I think just taking the game one possession at a time, not getting too high, too low, like you said, and just being confident. Knowing that we put in a lot of work since the summer when we first got here, knowing we're built for this moment, we're built for this game, we're built for, the environment that obviously is going to be our home environment, which we're excited for, but just trusting the work that we've all put in together, having each other's back, and playing with confidence is the biggest thing I say.
Simas, you're down to, I think, 56% from three-point range. How do you get out of this kind of cold slump that you've been in? This year, is there anything different, or is it just you're comfortable with the system, you're taking the shots that the offense is designed for you to get? Like, is there anything different that's happening?
I mean, obviously it helps that I'm in a much better rhythm, and I'm kind of carrying on the momentum I had at the end of last season, and otherwise I think it's just the work that I put in over the summer and throughout these years, and it's paying off. And, the shots are going in.
You're one of the rarities, at least locally, that has a win over Xavier from your Butler days. What do you tell the guys? You saw the game last year. You've seen it from the Butler angle. What do you tell the guys about playing them?
I mean, they get told enough, so everybody knows what it's about, and they don't need any extra motivation from me. And I mean, yeah, I'm very happy that I have a win over them, but I need to get another one.
Connor Hickman's been struggling a little bit as another offensive weapon in yourself, and Coach West talked about he's a veteran. He scored 1,000 points. What's he shown since he joined the team to give you the confidence that he's going to push through and really be a weapon for you guys this season?
I mean, really just knowing what type of player he is and seeing him in practice, you don't really worry about his offensive game because we've seen how he can perform. I'm really glad with how he's been developing on the defensive side, and I mean he got 7 rebounds last game, so he's really finding a way to help us in every way possible, even though his offense isn't where he wants it to be.
With the slow starts over the last week, is there anything you guys saw on film or anything that you guys fully took away from it outside of just got to be tighter together and more kind of buttoned up on the offensive end?
Yeah, no, I think especially with the slow starts, it's more of a just attitude thing. There's not really like a specific thing that, oh, like early in the game we keep doing this or like some strategic problem, but it's just got to be something that we have in our minds every time the game starts, and to make sure that we hit first.
Simas, Coach West mentioned following Saturday's victory that he's been on level 10 for the last few weeks. Has he turned it up a notch, maybe just a little bit here to start the week heading into Xavier?
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like he's on level 10 permanently, but yeah, I would say so. I mean, he's been disappointed. We've all been disappointed with how our performance maybe dropped a little bit since the beginning of the season. So he definitely knows that we need to put in a lot of work to get us back up there where we were, during the first weeks of the year.
What's your favorite type of three-point shot to hit? What's your favorite to take? Is it a pull-up, off the catch, dribble pull-up?
Probably off the dribble or something difficult. Those are the most fun ones that go in. But really, anything that goes through the net, I'm happy with it.
Ryan Conwell, it's a guy you saw last year against Indiana State twice. When you think about the individual matchups, what are some things that you think you need to do at both ends of the court to kind of gain an advantage?
Really, we just need to be us. We're not, doing anything special to prepare for the game or making any big adjustments. If we just put our heads down and do our work and do what we're supposed to do every game, everything will be just fine.
I asked Coach when he was in here if he was going to put you in bubble wrap before the Xavier game. So far, I'm knock on wood for you, everything's been clean. So, how do you feel about being able to go into the Xavier game a lot, in a lot better place physically?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy about it. It's something that I was excited for, since I committed to Cincinnati. So I'm very glad where I am today and how everything's looking, and that I've been able to stay healthy so far this season.
Students, are they back in class or no? Final week right now. All right. I mean, what do you hear just walking around, or what do you guys hear in general?
I mean, everyone's excited. That's all I can say. I mean, they want us to win. We want to win. There's not much else to be said.
Now he's on a 5-game losing streak in this series. Is it important to you guys to be the group that stops this and gets Cincinnati back on the winning side?
Yes, for sure. I mean, it's a big deal, like Dillon said, and like everyone's been saying. It's one of the biggest rivalries in college basketball, and we have a game at home this year, and everyone's excited for it, and we have a big chance. So yeah, we'll be ready for it.
When you look at scheduling, do you prefer these long layoffs, or would you prefer to have like a game in between this game as well as in between the Dayton game?
I mean, I wouldn't say I have a preference. Whenever we play, I'll be ready for it, and I know the coaching staff is going to have a great plan for us to be prepared. So yeah, I think that's a question for the coaching staff and what type of preparation for games they like. But for me, it's kind of all the same.